taking it all. Diving deep into topics, we'll rise or we'll fall. Every episode's a journey, a ride through the maze. Join us on this path, let's ignite the blaze. So grab your headphones tight, let's go for a ride. With every spin and twist, we'll couldn't run and hide. The Prime Directive, where the laughter's alive.
Wow, what a couple of weeks this has been.
I'm sorry, something happened.
Oh my God. Wow.
What happened?
So you might tell from my voice, I've been...
Screaming?
In pain, but no, I did to the Emergicare and...
Jeez, why? What happened?
Getting a case of pneumonia taken care of and on the old antibiotics and everything else you can think of, but this has been quite the couple of weeks. This has been incredible. But I'm so thankful to live in an age where I'm not dying.
Hey.
But I've got a fighting chance with antibiotics and everything else.
Excellent.
But I realized I could have called up RFK.
Oh,
and
yeah?
I could have gotten some incredible advice from him about how to like change my DNA and maybe turn me into like a lizard person, maybe, or something.
Using CRISPR?
Yes,
Nice.
using CRISPR, and and then asking him tips on how to fight off a cold, but. No, in all seriousness, I'm so thankful to the doctors or the nurse practitioners over here that just prescribed me some stuff and had me at least up and going. Missed a few days of school, and all the kids are sick at school, and I'm sure it's like that out there right now.
Yeah, definitely.
The illnesses right now are just crazy. It's CDC, I think, was saying it's the worst flu season in 15 years. It's like I'm going to burst into the thing all of a sudden and just be like, but no. So welcome to another episode of the Prime Directive. We've finally got Admar back in the studio here, and
Hello.
right,
Great to be back.
after a couple weeks of being away with just crazy life and everything else. But my wife has been busy doing. Episode
things.
editing and creating
things.
shirts.
Look
and
at this.
mugs.
Look at this, everybody.
And mugs and
I mean, absolutely phenomenal.
incredible.
And, huge shout out. Lisa, absolutely phenomenal.
She's amazing.
Phenomenal.
I'm married to a pretty incredible lady. When some
Yes,
people
you
say
are.
like they married up, you're like, oh yeah, it's just some bullshit that there's
Yeah.
No, I really did. No, no, I really do. I'm married to an amazing woman. So much thanks to you, my love. So Prime Directive. We are the podcast with the bold mission to explore this strange new world. We're not copying Star Trek. We just decided to just put that in there. By discussing a range of topics of interest to us, we ask that you join us to listen with an open mind and look with your human eyes, to thoughtfully interact and just share your thoughts. We are seeking life forms willing to engage in respectful discourse. We put the civil in civilization. And we try to keep our dogs from jumping off the couch again, because, boy, they want to see their mommy.
Yeah, they do.
So, illness and sickness and death. All uplifting topics to talk about this week.
Yeah.
Something to think about maybe in terms of like the Stoics and other things. Could be worse, I guess. You could be 6 feet under, right? So every day above board is a positive. Although I watch the news and I keep thinking to myself, maybe I need to watch another Dateline episode of mass murder just to get relaxed instead of watching the news, or watch another serial killer episode of something to just kind of like take the edge off of the day instead of actually watching the news, with our politics we're living through right now, which is we're living through a very odd time. It's even more strange to me than, say, like an Orwellian novel. We're living through what feels like the Looking Glass. It feels like we can see ourselves in the reflected, not so much upside down world like in Stranger Things, but in this truly distorted realm that we're living in right now. Yet it's real. It's the realization. It's almost like Kafka. Like you're looking at yourself and realizing that this is really happening. You ever read The Bug or anything like that?
No.
So this guy wakes up one day. Leave it up to Kafka. What a guy. Franz Kafka. Yeah, have you read this guy before?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Okay, Kafka's one of these guys that just is a writer. He can sometimes be a little strange to you're trying to follow along with what he's saying. But as soon as you get it, as soon as you kind of understand, decode his language, he becomes just, you're like, I see. So in the story, The Bug, it's been a long time since I read this one. Man goes to sleep, wakes up the next morning, and he's a goddamn cockroach. He's a cockroach. And in Kafka style, the rest of this short story is all about this guy. He's not even worried about turning into the bug. He's worried about, like, how is he going to get coverage for work? And what are his coworkers going to think about him? And what would this do to his HR career? And if it's like, he's not even worried about, like, I've just turned into a cockroach. He's obsessed about, like, how do I get coverage for this thing? And I have a proposal due tomorrow. And
Wow.
and because you're so conditioned in an alienation culture, you're so conditioned to be just distant from yourself and your work life that you end up just becoming like, you could even become another entity, and you're not even thinking about yourself. You're thinking about everything else but, so it's a great short story worthy of a read. TEDx has it too on their YouTube videos as well.
Okay.
It's worth a little quick 3 to 5 minute examination of just, and that's what I feel like we're in right now. We're in this bizarro world where we've all woken up and we're cockroaches. Everybody's, and we're you watch the media and you're like, what is going on in society? You feel like we've lost a bit of our I don't know, humanity, morality, all that stuff. But we keep going. We keep trying as best as we can each day. Watching Zelensky press conferences and other things as well. We're in this tumult time, right, of great chaos. And yet out of this chaos is going to come the next level of human that needs to emerge. The next level of American or world citizen. Maybe it's beyond even like a country, where you see yourself in terms of planetary stuff. That's why I like that series, The Expanse. Have you ever read that or seen the book or watched the series? It's on Amazon and stuff. Great series about our future. And we're still blowing each other up with nukes and everything else. But we've traveled into the stars, and there's a Martian colony that's really gone kind of dark. They're like a USSR, but of the future.
Oof.
And they've kind of gone dark. And then there's the Belters. And the Belters are the future. Belters are the people that have gone into space and suffered and had to find a way to survive. And they have their own language and stuff. It's really a great series. They call themselves Beltalada, like bigger, larger, but they just say Lada because they have this strange dialect and stuff. And many of them have deformities and stuff because they're in space, but they're the survivors. They're the ones who are like this next step in human like progress and stuff. So we're checking out The Expanse. It's a great series.
I am intrigued. I honestly cannot wait to give it a shot as soon as I have a little bit of time. But I do have just a couple of follow-up questions.
Sure.
How important are allies?
Make or break you, right? When you think about, in my experience at least, I don't know about yours, but maybe people out there in the interwebs can tell us too. Like,
yes. Can you tell us about some allies that?
Sure. So musically, early on allies, teachers. Ken French was a great teacher, super strict, but taught me the magic of how to hold the drumsticks to play. My dad introduced me to other musicians, taught me how to be on the bandstand. In the education world, I had doors open up to me because I got certain teachers that were strict but demanding, but like Dr. Genevieve Garcia, I'll never forget her classes because she was so on it. You had to be there. You've mentioned my wife as being a heck of an ally. They can come from strange places sometimes. fellow students that you never thought you would see eye to eye with, but who become like your confidants and your best, your cheerleaders, your resources. When you can't finish a paper, they do it and help you. When they can't do it, you help them.
So fostering those relationships really is what matters so much, and having that give and take, and to continue, in order to continue to be better, we need to be mindful enough to invest in those relationships and to continue a lot of those relationships that otherwise would not just continue on their own. And it takes time, and it does take effort, and it takes that, hey, I got your back attitude, so that you can garner the support from other people who will be in your corner when you do face some of those struggles, so they can ultimately be there and come to your aid.
And who have been your biggest allies, cheerleaders? Who would you say? Parents?
Definitely my parents. My brother. And that goes beyond measure. And teachers, both formal and informal, along the way. And as already mentioned, your wonderful spouse, who was an incredible mentor, because she came into my life at a time when I ran into a circumstance where I had to make certain decisions, and those decisions were either gonna, go through this and succeed, or I'm just gonna call it quits.
You're gonna let the temptation get you.
And I'm gonna let the temptation of just saying this is too hard.
Yeah.
It's taking too much time. Because at that particular point, I had a full-time job, I had a part-time job, and I was going full-time college.
Yeah.
And taking 7 classes, it was 21 credit hours, and trying to do it to the best of my ability was really difficult. And even looking back in retrospect, I have no idea how I did it.
Who would you be if you had given into the temptation?
Not the same person I am today.
Isn't that incredible to think of? Because when you're going through it, when you're going through those trials, it feels like hell. It feels like shit.
Yes.
I mean, it feels like I'm going to die. I'm going to die. I mean, you really are, a lot of these, it could be physical, but for others, it's like a spiritual or an academic.
Correct.
It's a career journey. I mean, you're like, how in the hell am I going to get through this?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then when you look back, you realize that is exactly what made me.
Mm-hmm.
The blade, right? You have to put in the fire, and the hotter that fire is, the stronger that blade comes out. Human beings are a lot like that, I think. You put a human being and smelt them in, get all those impurities and stuff out of that blade, and out comes this stainless steel thing that is just damn near unbreakable. It becomes astoundingly strong and useful, and builds kingdoms, right? Builds a future. Sometimes through blood, and other times through just the sight of the thing being a symbol of power.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, I think, like humans too. Like, you're forged in this fires of tribulation, and that's what we're going through right now. I think as a society, when I started off with our podcast, you were talking about just like looking through the looking glass. We are going through an era of madness. It is just so obvious to most of us. I would say most of our listeners too. People that are going to be turned on to our podcast and stuff. Sam Harris and others they listen to. It's just so obvious that we are going through this time right now that is just chaos, mental, spiritual, existential, just constant crisis, right? And so out of this is going to come the next generation. Out of this is going to come forged, I think, a stronger, less fragile group. It just is. It's just going to have to be. And then trying to just do our best each thing. So, anyway, apologize for the voice.
So as we close the chapter, lend us your ear. The Prime Directive's calling, so let's pass a beer. The Prime Directive, where the laughter's alive. Society's reflections that help each other thrive. Politics and culture, oh what a